y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade, and today we're going to talk about the Triple H conference call pre-War Games, and in which Triple H is not getting over on anybody. The internet is too smart for Triple H. So I'm going to use these tweets from the Wrestling Observer because I didn't listen to the conference call myself. I did listen to Triple H talk to Ryan Satin, and it seemed very empty. There was literally nothing worth talking about. So let's go through some of these tweets in which they discuss different things. He started the conference call talking about Pat Patterson, which is very important, but it's not anything that I can sit down and really talk about. Then he's talked about Pat McAfee. No, he didn't. Did he talk about Pat McAfee? Yes, he says, Triple H puts over Pat McAfee's desire and his athleticism and dedication, talks about critiques on outsiders, quote unquote, when athletes come in, but says he always wanted to do this. It's a testament to him that he's doing better than some who have done this their whole lives. So Triple H did talk a lot about Pat McAfee and that, you know, how he's been under contract for them for a long time, but he has so many other things going on that he can't appear regularly, and they don't want to use him that much. I love the Pat McAfee stuff. I know I hated it before. I really ragged on them for having Pat McAfee involved before, because I always thought it was just them begging for legitimacy from a certain part of the world, which is like sports. Like WWE has a big problem with that whole reaching for legitimacy thing. That's going to be a whole different video, but they do stuff like this, and it's really frustrating. And that's what I thought they were doing. And then I realized, you know, Pat McAfee is a long-term fan. You know, he's also a guy who has put in a lot of work. He actually went and worked out with Rip Rogers and all these people, and he's just been doing a lot of good stuff. So Pat McAfee has been really good. He's been really awesome. So Triple H talked about the NXT Heritage Cup when he put over A-Kid. He said he loves what they're doing and urges people to watch Walter versus Dragunov. Everybody's seen the match. Everybody who wants to see that match will have seen it by now. So Triple H was asked about his previous statement about Charlotte Flair's win over Rhea Ripley as part of a bigger plan and whether things are still going according to the plan. Oh boy. Triple H said that COVID basically changed all the plans, talked about growing as a performer and ups and downs and related to his own career. So for those of you who don't know, Triple H said that Charlotte beating Rhea Ripley was supposed to lead to something bigger, and he said it would make sense in 4 months. See, WrestleMania was in April. 4 months would have been August. But considering, I guess what he's saying that, you know, COVID and Charlotte disappearing all this time, kind of, put a damper on whatever plans they were trying to have. That would make sense if it wasn't bullshit. It's bullshit. Triple H knows that, man. It was likely a test, you know, because Rhea Ripley was coming really big, and they probably was going to bring her up. And Rhea Ripley has also said that too, that she was expecting to get drafted, she was expecting to be brought to the main roster, but it didn't happen. And I think that's probably what it was. If this is not complete bullshit, then I think that was the response, is that they were probably going to bring Rhea Ripley up to the main roster to fight Charlotte in a longer term thing. But of course, this has nothing to do with Charlotte could have stayed in NXT and actually put over some people, or at least helped elevate the roster, instead of having her jump from Raw to SmackDown and all that bunch of stuff too. But I do believe that they had a plan, and I do believe that the plan probably got derailed. But I don't believe that there was going to be some 4-month plan. I don't believe that. He says, Triple H says there's still some valuable lessons Ripley learned through that process, and that she is a way better performer, which came through that process. Which, I mean, I guess that's true. You know, she learned a lot. I know JB talking about her. She kind of had a confidence issue following losing to Charlotte. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they figured she wasn't good enough, and so they decided to take the title off of her. But I do believe that they probably had some type of longer term goal for Rhea Ripley. It's just, it all fell through. I mean, WWE does not make long term plans anymore. They don't. I mean, for some reasons that they can't. But they can't. They just don't put it together. They used to know the WrestleMania main event before SummerSlam. They would know where they're going with the WrestleMania main events. Bruce Prichard used to talk about it. Hell, other people like Michael Hayes has talked about it. A bunch of people used to talk about how Jim Cornette has even talked about it. Pat Patterson has talked about it. They used to plot the WrestleMania main events months in advance. Not just who's going to win the Royal Rumble, but months in advance. They would know who's going to main event WrestleMania. Now, they don't know who's going to main event WrestleMania until the Royal Rumble. And then sometimes not even until after the Royal Rumble. They just don't have any ability to plan long term. It's the problem with live TV. When you have people trying to respond to up and down ratings or injuries and stuff like COVID and stuff like that. I mean, it is difficult to do, but COVID is not an excuse because that's only been this year. You can't really help last year. Let's see, is Triple H, WWE, or NXT open to crossovers with other companies? Triple H says we're open for business and says perceptions of their business from others are often incorrect. If it's the right thing and meaningful, he thinks Vince McMahon is open for anything. Yeah, yeah, right. No, there's no way. There's no way. He's not interested. Only time WWE has ever done crossovers is when it's really benefited them. Not when it benefits the other promotion far more. And they've done crossovers before. Like if you were, they did the crossover with AAA when they had the AAA guys in the Royal Rumble, which was absolutely one of the worst Rumbles ever, if we're being honest. Not just because nobody knew who those guys were. And even though they were in San Antonio, I believe it was Royal Rumble 97, everybody, that area should have known because it was a highly Hispanic area. But nobody, like, I'm from Detroit. I didn't know who Cybernetico was. Like, I knew who Mil Mascaras was. But the Latin Lover, I had no fucking idea who that guy was. So, like, you bringing these people onto TV, I have no idea who they are. They did the same thing with, now, at least I had seen some ECW before they did the ECW crossovers. I at least knew some ECW. So I had seen, I think, Taz before. I think I had seen Sabu before. But I had never seen Rob Van Dam or the Dudleys. I didn't know who any of those people are. That's the problem that you're taking when you're doing crossovers, especially for the WWE, is you're going to try to introduce people who nobody knows into your TV. And sometimes you may pull people away from your TV and over to their program, but it doesn't really add anything. Like, there was a lot of guys who got screwed because, of the 97 Royal Rumble where there was a bunch of AAA guys in it, and there was a lot of guys who were under contract that I had been watching on Raw that wasn't in that match. So it's like, no, I'm not interested. But to believe that WWE is interested in crossovers, it's like, no, they're interested in buying people out. It's really that simple. That's their idea of a crossover is, hey, we'll come and buy you out. I remember Conan told this story, right, about getting a a WWE executive coming down to AAA, and they were talking about crossovers. I'm like, hey, you want to do some talent exchanges? And they talked about, oh yeah, that's great, talent exchanges. That's really good. That's cool. And then the WWE executive goes back, and then he gets a phone call like, oh yeah, we just kind of want to buy you guys out. He was like, yeah, how about you just sell us the promotion? Like, we prefer that. We prefer we just give you money and you go away. Which is how they always done things. That's how they did Maple Leaf Wrestling. That's how they did the Stampede Wrestling. That's how they did, that's just how they do. Vince McMahon buys people out. He gets rid of them. He doesn't partner. He doesn't partner very well. And the only reason the ECW crossover or the Smoky Mountain crossover even worked is because the owners were on the payroll. Jim Cornette worked for the WWF while he was on Smoky Mountain. Paul Heyman was secretly on the payroll of the WWF while ECW was talking shit about WWF and being featured on WWF. The NWA was essentially dead when Vince McMahon let the North American Championship or whatever be defended on Raw and stuff like that. When they was pushing Jeff Jarrett as the NWA traditional champion or some stupid crap. When Jeff Jarrett returned in like '98 or something like that, the NWA was all but dead. So it didn't really hurt Vince at all to bring, and plus he wanted Jarrett to come back. But nobody believes that Triple H or anybody is open to crossovers. It's just no. No, because it's not beneficial to them or to their talent. WWE has a bloated roster. They have so many people that are in the performance center. That's like I talked about the Liv Morgan documentary where she was in developmental for 7 years. And I was like, I don't remember. I have no idea. There have been people who have been there for a long time. That's why we talked about D'Angelo Dawkins, who, they talked about him being in developmental for a really long time. Like, it's insane how long those people spend in developmental before they even make it to NXT TV. And then some of them don't even do anything there. And then they end up on Raw or SmackDown or something like that. So they just don't have the space. It is not beneficial to their talent to let other people come in and get top spots. It just wouldn't work. And plus, I think if they did do that, they wouldn't partner with anybody who has national TV. So they definitely wouldn't partner with like AEW or Impact or anything like that. They would more likely partner with a AAA or something where there is no competition in the United States. That would be far more likely for them to do. But they're not going to do it anyway because the McMahons don't believe in that shit. We already know that. The McMahons, they do not believe in talent trades and partnerships and all that. They don't buy it. And to be quite honest, I don't believe in that shit either. It never works out. Triple H was asked about Danny Burch, and he said he's an amazing performer that can do it all and he can float under the radar. Talks about how so many talented performers through the years were never, quote, quote, the guy, but loves Danny Burch's dedication and can't say enough good things about him. I do. I love Danny Burch, too. He's really good. He has no personality. He also doesn't have the greatest physique, but he's very physical and, kind of imposing in his own way. He has that sort of workman's... It's sort of become the Benoit prototype where you're not much of a personality, but you're a good wrestler, a good performer, physical performer, intense performer. Now, I think before Benoit, it was probably maybe Arn Anderson. So I think maybe we should probably call it the Arn Anderson position. And I think Danny Burch could be that. I don't know. He's not going to be like the main event or anything. But I think he's a really solid guy. And I really love Oney Lorcan, too. Like, I'm a big fan of him, but he's really skinny. Triple H was asked about NXT being left out of Survivor Series. He believes that the pandemic played a role in that and that they're trying to keep things separated. Didn't seem like the right thing to do in a lot of ways, covering up what was needed with the build-up. Okay, that makes sense. I pretty much said that, is that NXT wasn't going to be involved in Survivor Series because of COVID. And because, NXT was on the hot spots and all this type of stuff of the Performance Center was one of those hot spots that Florida was looking at to see if it was being a super spreader event. And it's nonsense. It says the final question was about NXT's pacing and the changes since October. Triple H says that he's a fan of the pacing right now and loves where NXT is with showcasing the current as well as the future. He reiterates the long-term plan of 5 years, 10 years down the road, and where they are looking. So, okay, I get that. So Triple H wraps up by saying the 16 performers in the War Games as the best of the best. Ciampa versus Thatcher will be hard-hitting and one that will make him sweat with how physical it will be. And, okay, so I'm cool with that. Yes, now the NXT's pacing has been dog shit since October. I don't know why he likes it so much. I'm not a fan of it. I haven't really been a fan of the way NXT has been doing things. I wouldn't say, I'm not one of those people that I think that, NXT has been watered down or it's been fucked over or anything. No, I don't believe that. I think that the longer time frame, it being 2 hours, has now kind of exposed what it is that NXT was from the beginning. And that is, it was always developmental, but they were able to keep a lot of the actual half-developed people off TV for a longer period of time. Like the Liv Morgan, she was on NXT, back when it was 1 hour. So she probably had like a 4-minute match on TV. You probably don't even remember it, because I know I didn't. I don't remember none of that stuff. Just like, Juice Robinson, when he was that guy carrying the sign. He was on NXT for a while. Sami Callihan, when he was in NXT, most of these people, they had very little exposure. And NXT was only an hour, so they would extend the matches of the people who already had, time. The Nevilles, the Sami Zayns, the Kevin Owens. Those guys would work 10 minutes, 12 minutes, or whatever. Meanwhile, all the people who were developing, the D'Angelo Dawkins, the Liv Morgans, Tyler Breeze before he was Tyler Breeze, Adam Rose before he was Adam Rose. Those people wouldn't get put in marquee matches that of any real length. So you got to hide them a bit. But now that NXT is 2 hours, you're putting more of those people out there. And then for some of them, you're putting some of those people out there even longer. So it's exposing what it was already. And when you had takeovers, you could just pretty much just have, we've been building these, top stars, put them on the takeover. And that was it. Takeovers are 2 hours. They're still just a little over 2 hours. They're not full events like 3-4 hour events. No. But it's just completely exposed NXT. But the people who claim to have loved the brand and I love NXT so much, it's so great. Now they're like, I love AEW, I love it so much. NXT used to move to Tuesdays. It's like, no, you can watch NXT on the network. You can DVR NXT. You don't need to go to a different night. But I DVR AEW, and so it is what it is. But Triple H has been trying to bullshit. He always tries to bullshit, but that best open for business stuff, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Nobody buys that. Cool story, bro. All right, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you guys later.